Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to Career Unfold, and today we'll be doing some questions based on direct inequalities. So this session would be reserved for only the questions. A quick recap before we start. In the last lecture, we discussed the priority table, and it is highly recommended that you view that video before starting with this one. Link of it would be in the description below. Okay, so in the priority table, we saw that greater than and less than symbols have the highest priority, and greater than equal to and less than equal to have a little less priority than this, and finally the equal to symbol has the least or the lowest priority. Other than this, we also saw that this symbol can be related with the beak of the duck, wherever the beak opens, that is the larger part, and wherever it closes is the smaller part. And finally, we saw that two symbols which face each other are bound to give an inequality which is invalid. So these symbols are this or this or this. All these cases are not valid, and the converse is also true. And this is something that we've discussed in the previous videos, so kindly go through it once. Okay, so this is all right. Okay, without delaying further, let's do some questions, starting off with a very basic one. All right, so this is a question having just one statement, which is R is less than A, less than B, less than equal to C, more than D. Okay, so the first conclusion is between R and A, pretty straightforward. R is less than A. Alright, so this one is correct. Going on to the next one, R and C. Between R and C. What are the symbols that we see? One is this one and the other is this one. Which has the highest priority? This one. So it will be R is less than C. But what is given here? R is less than equal to C. So this one would not follow. Then let's go on to the third one, B and C. Here's B and here's C. Straightforward, B is less than equal to C. Again, this is false. But alright, this is false. Okay. The final one, B and C. B and D, I'm sorry. B and D. Two opposite facing symbols, so this is clearly not valid. Thus, this one also doesn't follow. So the answer to this would be only one follows, which is option number 3. Okay, moving on to the next one. Okay, now we have two questions. Let's go over them one by one. Now here you see more than one statement, like I told you in the previous video as well. So when you have such a situation, you have to combine all the equations together. Alright, so let's start. We have D is greater than equal to B is greater than C. Now in this equation we see C is less than F, so we write less than F, and F is greater than I, so we write it this way. And continuing further, we see I is equal to Q and Q is more than P. So this is a single statement that we've gotten out of these three individual statements. So this is what you're supposed to do when you have multiple statements. Alright, here's C and here's P, doing the same thing. Two opposing signs, so this one would not follow, not valid. Second one is between D and F, again two opposing signs, not valid, doesn't follow. Then we have C and I. Here's C, here's I. Opposing symbols doesn't follow. Okay, we have gotten a hat trick so far. And finally P and B. Okay, P and B. Oh, okay, again opposing symbols, so doesn't follow. So none follows would be the answer for this one. I hope you got that. Let's move on to the next question. Again, here we have two statements. We'll have to combine them to form one single statement. So we'll write it as it is. A is more than Z, equal to R, less than equal to T. Now, what is common in this equation and here? Z we see is the common term, right? So we see the beak closes in both the situations. So the beak is going to close here. We write an X here and the beak closes towards Z and we write a P here. I hope that made sense. So we've combined these two to form one single statement which is branched in such a form. Okay, now let's get to the conclusions. A and P. Okay, now if you visualize this, it is as good as A is more than Z and Z is less than P, right? So what do we see here? Two opposing signs, thus it is not valid. This one would not follow. Moving on to the next one, X and R. So here's X, here's R. If we combine these two, what do we get? X is greater than or equal to Z, and which is equal to R. So between X and R, what do we have? This one would have higher priority. Remember the priority table, right? So this one is going to follow. Then we have A and T. So here's A, here's T. This is straight. So we see two opposing signs. One is greater than, one is less than equal to. So this one is not going to follow. And finally, we have between Z and T. Again straight. Now we have two symbols. One is the equal to, one is the less than equal to. So this has the higher priority, less than equal to. Thus, this one would follow. So in this question, the answer is going to be option 2 and 4 follows. Alright, that is how you are going to solve all these questions which have multiple statements, form one single branch structure, or it is going to be a straight structure. It will depend on the question, and then decide for the conclusions and pick the options. Alright, let's do one more. Okay, now we have three statements. Let's quickly form a unified statement for this. P less than Q less than equal R is equal to S is equal to U. Now S is common in this statement, right? So we'll branch it from here. We see the beak closes towards S, so it closes towards S and M. And then we see towards M the beak opens. So towards M it opens and L. So this is the structure that we are going to get. Alright. Okay. Now the first one is between P and R. Here's P, here's R. Two symbols in between. This has the highest priority. So this one would follow. I hope that makes sense. Then we have P and U. Here's P and here's U. Okay. Straight combination, a straight arrangement. So there are three symbols in between. The less than, equal to, and equal to. Highest priority is to the less than. So P should be less than U, and that is what is given in the conclusion. Thus it is true. Then we have R and U. Here's R, here's U. So less than and equal to. This has the higher priority. So R is less than U. This one as well follows. And finally R and L. Now every time you don't need to write the statement once again. just visualize it from over here. R is equal to S is less than M is more than L. So we have two opposite signs. So this one is not going to follow. Okay. So the answer overall is going to be 1, 2 and 3 follows. Which one is that? Option number 3. One final question and then we're done. Okay, so here we see 3 statements now. Let's start with the first one. S is equal to T less than equal to P less than equal to Q. Then we have P as the common term, and in this statement the B closes towards P, so P is less than R and R is equal to F. Finally we have S, which is common in both, so the beak opens towards S. X is equal to Y. This is the branch structure that we form. Now let's look at the options. Now we notice that there's TQ, TQ in both of these options. So there is a great possibility that the either option would follow here. Let's look at that. Now we have to go between T and Q. Okay, so here's T and here's Q. We see that T is less than equal to Q, which can be broken down into T is equal to Q or T is less than Q. Alright, and that is what is given in both of these options. So either the first one or the third one would follow. Alright, and we do have an option like that, but let's look at the other options as well. Y and Q. So here's Y and Q is all the way up here. So we need to go in this direction, right? So if we form a single statement out of this, it will be Y is equal to X less than equal to S equal to T less than equal to P less than equal to Q. Now this is an approach that we do not recommend. This is just to explain it to you how this came about. But in the exam, you should not write this step as it's going to waste time. So practice as much as you can to visually see what is the relation between two entities which are far off from each other. Okay, so between Y and Q, we see, okay, all the symbols are facing in one direction. So which has the highest priority out of these? Y less than equal to Q should be the correct conclusion. But what is given in the option? Y is equal to Q, which is incorrect. And finally, we have a statement between Y and F. So here's Y, here's F. This time I'll not write one single statement. Going in this direction, we see the beak closes towards Y. Again it closes towards Y. Again it closes towards Y. So this is a valid one unified statement. And which has the highest priority out of these? The less than symbol. So it should be Y is less than F. But what do we have in the options? Y is equal to F. So this one also doesn't follow. So we see out of the given options, either 1 or 3 follows. And that is given in the options as well. Either 1 or 3 follows. And thus this is the answer. Okay. So that wraps up the direct inequality questions and the concepts for it, which we have covered in the previous video. Hope you guys liked it, and if you want to practice more questions, there's a link in the description below. Do check that out. And if you have any doubts or queries related to this topic, comment in the comment section below. We'll surely get back to you. Thank you for watching this video, and please subscribe to our channel.